Okay. First thing you want to do is wipe down the surface with alcohol with a lint-free rag. And after that, you want to make sure to measure. What I did here is measured and try to get the center of the hood. So I have something to go on that I can line up, on the front and also on the back. And you kind of have to look for somewhere to check measurements, make sure it's centered. You just kind of have to look for a point in the hood to check both sides. And make adjustments as needed. I'm doing a hinge method, so like one big hinge in the middle. Probably should even use two in there just in case so it doesn't lift up. Next thing, grab the tools, a squeegee, spray bottle with soap and water, and that blade has a cutting tool or has a blade on it. So you want to lift up one side. Lift up one side here. And cut the backing. Here you see me squeegee maybe about an inch of the material, because if you get the wax paper wet, it disintegrates and kind of leaves paper on the sticker itself. I'll show a video of some of the stuff that happens sometimes when you get the wax paper wet, so I'll try to include a photo of that maybe. So you wet everything down. Once you get to this point, the more soap and water you have on there, the better. And then line it back to your marks. And, this is something that people don't tell you to do, is to wet the top, but I found that it actually helps get much of the water underneath out, and you can kind of sometimes even feel if there's any air pockets or bubbles on there. And as you see there, I could easily lift it up. I haven't squeegeed that part yet, but soap it some more. And what you can do too is you do a light pressure and then just increase it gradually as you go. So if you need to lift it back up, you can. In that instance there, it's tricky when it starts, having a sphere shape or a concave. You're trying to wrap a flat piece to it, but if you can kind of stretch it a little bit. The paper itself doesn't have any give. The transfer tape on top, but as you see there, it squeeged out flat, no problem. just work your way from the center out. This one, the video, well, my phone actually got cut off because someone called that in the middle of it. So pretty much the same deal. I just took off the other side, the wax paper. Once that's off, you can just soak the whole hood down. I found it that the 3M, if you get any little moisture on it, it tends to break apart the wax paper. Oracal and the other brands, I could do it for much longer, and you can get it wet and it still come off fairly clean, but not like the 3M. 3M's, you have to be quick on doing the transition that way. There's also another method where you don't do the hinge, where you just remove the whole backing, so you don't get it wet and you have any issues, and you kind of just wet the whole surface again. And you're not even supposed to be, doing this, on sunlight. It's better if you're in the shade, kind of, give it a little bit more time, because this dries it out obviously a lot quicker, having it out in the sun, even though it's probably, 80 degrees outside at the time. But it's best to do it in the shade, so you have plenty of wiggle room. Here you see me wet the top even more, and it helps remove the transfer tape, but here I use it as a, making sure that there's no major or big air pockets in there before I remove the transfer tape. Just soaking that transfer tape, kind of feeling for any bubbles underneath or air pockets. And you can squeeze it into the middle, since this one has a 1-inch gap in the middle of the stripe. Here you see me start separating the graphic away from the transfer tape. I found it easier when the transfer tape is soaking wet to remove it, rather than waiting. I think they usually recommend 20 minutes before removing the transfer tape. This way, if I remove it now, any air pockets and stuff in there, or bubbles, it's still pretty fresh, you'll be able to work out. But you obviously have the chance of lifting the graphic itself if it's not on there pretty good. So, but wetting it down kind of releases it from the graphic, even though it looks like I'm struggling there, but it's actually coming off fairly clean. This one I used you see there's a blue felt type edge on the squeegee. You want to scratch up the surface of the vinyl without the transfer tape and stuff. And here's the finished stripe after the whole thing. Turned out good. Well, thanks, and check back. We'll add more videos, help you guys install